Good morning, culinary arts students. Today we are going to be learning how to write a lab plan, which is an essential document for you to be successful in the culinary arts kitchen. So the first thing that you do when you are writing a lab plan is you look through the recipe and you read it and you familiarize yourself with everything about it. So today we're going to be using the original Nestle Toll House peanut butter and milk chocolate chip morsels cookies. So the first thing that we're going to look at was we're going to look at the ingredients. The ingredients are also a set of directions that give you steps that you need to follow, as well as the instructions. So for these ingredients, we're going to need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of butter or margarine, 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 3/4 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 large eggs, 1 2/3 cup of chocolate chip and peanut butter morsels, and then 1 cup of chopped nuts. Then we're going to read the instructions. We're going to preheat our oven to 375 degrees. Combine flour, baking soda, and salt in a small bowl. Beat butter and granulated sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla extract in a large mixing bowl until creamy. Add eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. Gradually beat in flour, stir in the morsels, and nuts. Drop by rounded tablespoons onto an ungreased baking sheet. Bake for 9 to 11 minutes or until golden brown. Cool on a baking sheet for 2 minutes and then remove to the wire rack and cool completely. Okay, over here to your left, you're going to see what we're going to use for our lab planning document. This is what we use for all of our labs, and you will be required to write one for every lab that you participate in. So one of the things that I want to show you about this before you get started is sometimes you're going to have labs where you have more than one recipe. So I want to show you how to break up a lab plan into 2 separate recipes. So you're going to take and you're going to copy where it says name of the recipe and then put that somewhere in the middle or wherever you need it to be, and then place it there so you have 2 separate lab plans for one lab. Okay, so I'm just going to take that away. So let's start looking at our recipe and let's figure out what we're going to need. So the first thing that I like to do when I am lab planning is I like to go and list all my tools first. So I'm going to look in the ingredients first. The ingredients are going to tell me a lot about what I'm going to need. Looking right here, I see the word cups, so I know that I'm going to need, and it's flour, so I'm going to need some dry measuring cups. Then I see teaspoons, so I know I'm going to need some measuring spoons. I'm going to need some salt. So that is also going to be measuring spoons. Some butter, those are in sticks, so I don't need to worry about that. Granulated sugar, measuring cups. Okay, so now I'm going to look through here, and it's also going to tell me what I need to hold those things in. For flour, I use boats, which are just little paper things that like you get hot dogs in at the fair. So we're going to need 1 boat for the flour because it's going to have actually probably 2 boats for the flour, 2 boats for the Nestle Toll House morsels. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to need a total of 7 boats. I'm going to need portion cups, so I'm going to need a portion cup for my baking soda. So 1, 2, small amounts, 3 portion cups. And then I know that I'm going to need a bowl to hold my eggs. And so I like to put bowl and then eggs so that I know what I'm using that bowl for, so I don't come up short. Okay, so that is all the ingredients that the tools that I'm going to need to hold my ingredients. So then I go and I look into the recipe. So preheat the oven. I'm going to go ahead, that'll probably be done when you come in. Combine flour, baking soda, and salt in a small bowl. So I'm going to list bowl again, and then I'm going to put dry ingredients because that is what I'm going to be mixing those in. All right, then beat butter, granulated sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla extract in a large mixer bowl. So I'm going to need a mixer, a mixing bowl, and when you're making cookies, you use a paddle attachment. And I know that, so I'm going to add that here. And then I'm going to, it says add eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. Gradually beat in flour. I also forgot that up here it says combine, so I'm going to need some type of spoon. Sorry, I'm hopping around. I just realized that. Add eggs one at a time, beating well. Gradually beat in flour. Stir in morsels. I can use the spoon that I had. Drop by a rounded teaspoon, so we're going to need a cookie scoop and a baking sheet. We call these sheet pans in our class. And then we bake on parchment, so I would put parchment here. And then if you look down here at the bottom, it says cool on the baking sheets for 2 minutes and then remove to a wire rack. So to remove that, I'm going to need a spatula. I'm probably going to need a metal one. And then I'm going to need a wire rack. And then for steps, I would put gather equipment. And then I'm going to have Bob and Judy gather the equipment. So in your lab, it will be whoever is in your lab group. You can assign them that task. Okay, so now that I've got all my equipment gathered, now I can start working on my mise en place. So I'm going to start by measuring all my ingredients. And if you'll look, a recipe is written in the order in which the ingredients are going to be used. And so when you're planning your labs out, make sure that you list them in the right order. And then on your table, put them in that order. So that way you can use it as a checklist. Somebody in your group can take responsibility and be like, okay, we've got the flour, we've got the baking soda. So I'm going to put AP flour because that's all-purpose flour. And we're going to need 2 1/4 cups. Then I'm going to put baking soda. And I'm going to need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put 2 sticks of butter. If you can go ahead and if it says like you need, 4 pounds of butter, go ahead and count out the sticks and write the sticks in there. So that way when you're in the lab, you're not having to try to do the math in your head. You've already done it. So I should have put butter here and 2 sticks over here. All right, then you need granulated sugar. And thank you, Lord, for some spell check. And so granulated sugar, and I'm going to put 3/4 cup here. And then it says packed. So when you have a word in the recipe that it's specific, you need to include it. So packed brown sugar. And I'm going to need 3/4 cup. I need vanilla extract. And I'm going to need 1 teaspoon of that. And then I need eggs. And I need 2 large eggs. And make sure you include large because it says it. And then you need peanut butter and milk chocolate morsels. And that means you need 1 2/3 cup. And then nuts, you need 1 cup. And one thing I forgot to do is I'm going to go ahead and go up here. And I'm going to add in an extra row. Add a row below, and I like to put where it says measuring, and so that way I know what I'm doing there. And then down here I'm going to put mixing or where the start of the recipe instructions start. Okay, so it says combine the flour, baking soda, and salt in a small bowl. So I'm going to put bowl here, and in that bowl, like I like to make where I'm putting it in it. I'm going to put my flour, baking soda, and salt. And then I'm going to put where it says combine. And then the next step would be, it says a mixer. We need the mixer, the mixing bowl, or the mixer bowl, and the paddle attachment. And in there, we're going to add the granulated sugar. We're going to need the brown sugar. And we're going to need the vanilla extract, as well as the butter. Okay, and then it says mix until creamy, but this just means that creaming is the direction. So we're going to cream these ingredients together. And then once they're combined, we're going to add eggs. So we're going to need the eggs, and it says to add one at a time. And then it specifically says beating well after each addition. Okay. Addition. Okay, then it says gradually beat in flour. So we're going to do the flour. And it says gradually beat in the flour. And you might want to include, if somebody doesn't know what gradually mean, you need to like maybe put a little at a time. So that way, if you have a student in your group that may not understand, everybody will be able to participate because you guys have taken the time to spell it all out for everybody. So it says gradually beat in flour. So I've done that. And then it says to, one thing about cookies, you need to make sure that it says mix only until moistened. Except I can't spell today. Thank God for spell check. Okay. Or only until moist. Let's just do that. All right, so after you've beaten the flour, it says you need to add the morsels. So we'll go over here and we'll say fold in the morsels. Okay, and then we're going to, I'm going to put the cookie dough here. And we're going to scoop using a cookie dough, and we're going to need a cookie scoop. And then here we're going to put scoop dough onto a cookie sheet or a sheet pan. Scoop dough onto a sheet pan, keeping dough 2 inches apart. And then I'm going to put bake over here, even though it doesn't go there. Bake for 9 to 11 minutes. And then I'm going to put cool here. And then I'm going to put 2 minutes on the baking sheet. And then I'm going to put wire rack and spatula. And I'm going to put, it says cool completely on a wire rack. Okay, so that would be the completion of my lab plan, because I usually don't have this, you guys include wash your dishes, set your table. Hopefully when we start getting into lab and we develop a set of rules and regulations as you complete your labs, you will know to do those things. So once you have got your lab plan written, you need to start assigning things, and like I did up here. So you may want to let one person do all the measuring. So you would say that Lily is going to do all the measuring, and then break up the instructions. So, in that bowl, combine the baking soda, the flour, and the salt. You may have Bob doing that, and then you may have Judy doing the creaming. And Judy may do the eggs and the flour as well, but since that's all basically one step. And then you may have Lily fold in the morsels after everything has been mixed. And then everyone is going to scoop the cookies. And then it's going to bake. And while it's baking, that's when you would do your cleaning and your organizing and all of that. So, hopefully, you guys understand how to read through a recipe and how to write your lab plan. Sorry for all the typos and the spelling mistakes. It's trying to talk and type is a little bit hard. But this is how I want you guys to write your lab plans for every lab. So you can take this, even though this is baking, you can take a cooking hot foods recipe and do the exact same thing with it. You're going to do this for a long time until you start to develop, some skills to where you can think on your feet. At least with these lab plans, you'll be able to see where you're at and be able to, okay, we forgot to do this step, let's go back. Or, hey, let's check this off. So thank you guys for watching this video, and hopefully you have learned something and will be able to take it and apply it to the labs that we are going to have in class.